everyone, Amina here with the Float Small Business Podcast, speaking with Augusto Carneiro, founder of Nossa Familia Coffee, about some of the challenges he's had over the last few months, but also some important lessons that he's learned along the way that maybe we can all benefit from. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Looking forward to the conversation.
I have to start with this. It's off topic, but it's something that I'm kind of obsessed about, so I have to ask you about it. Tennis. When is the last time you actually played seriously?
Last night, actually.
Really?
Yes, I mean, I played seriously with a friend who kicked my ass.
Okay.
But yeah, I took a break after college and spent many years where I would play maybe once or twice a year randomly.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a year and a half ago we joined a club here so that the kids could have more activities, and so I started playing about once a week.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you're playing, because now more than ever, it's so important to be doing those things that, one, make us happy, and two, keep our immune systems healthy. And exercise is one of the best things for that, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, a huge part of my well-being comes from physical exercise. To the point, if I'm having a crummy day, which is not too often, but my wife will tell me to get out of the house and go on a bike ride, because she knows, like, look, you haven't done anything for 2 days. That happens more like in the winter when we're more stuck.
So how are you feeling about reopening and what I've started referring to as also re-emerging? Because, and the way that the distinction I see between reopening and re-emerging is, reopening is just opening our doors back up and being safe, being responsible. But re-emerging to me feels bigger than that. It feels like re-examining business strategy, making financial decisions, making operational decisions that we might not have been thinking about pre-COVID times.
Yeah, would it be helpful to paint a picture of where we are now first?
Sure.
Or what we have to do, yeah. So, Nossa Familia, we're primarily a wholesale business. So 75% of our revenue comes from selling coffee to grocery stores, restaurants, cafes, institutions, and then offices as well. We also have included in that category online sales, which were never over like 5% of our total revenue. The other 25% of our revenue came from direct-to-consumer, our farmers markets, and then our 4 retail locations.
Right.
And so when COVID hit, it was literally Friday the 13th that really hit us bad. We entered this phase of, like, every day we had to make new decisions of how we were going to do things differently for the retail locations, tightening things more and more to keep our staff and customers and community safe. Yeah. So, and then sometimes we'd make a decision in the morning and have to change it in the afternoon. It's a crazy way of running the business. Felt like a month happened in a couple of days. And then as coffee shops, we're considered essential businesses like restaurants. So we could have not closed and just gone to takeout only mode. But a lot of the staff weren't feeling safe, and the numbers were going down so drastically. And the change was so frequent. There's so much unknown that it was much easier and safer to close retail. And then our wholesale accounts, because a lot of them are cafe and restaurants, they started ordering much less as well. So they went almost down to zero. Institutions went almost down to zero. But then grocery, that first week, shot up. People were in a hoarding mode, right?
Right.
So they're buying not only toilet paper, but coffee and other stuff.
Which is a diuretic, so you need more toilet paper when you're drinking the coffee.
Maybe that's why we ran out of toilet paper. So grocery was promising, and then online really shot up. Like we're talking 300 to 500% in different weeks. So now that didn't quite make up the volume of the other items. So now we're, 3 months after this started. We've started to see some wholesale customers come back. So if we went down to 10% of what we were seeing, maybe now we're back to 30% of normal.
Okay.
Institutions went down to pretty much zero, and then now we're up to like 5 to 10%. And online has come down a little bit, and now it's stable. Still like at least twice of what we were doing, which is really good.
Okay.
And then at the cafes, we decided to open one. So we opened one about a month ago on May 11th. And the day we opened was a record-breaking day. It was a Monday, and it was the least number of customers we ever saw in a single day.
Oh, you had me hopeful.
Part of it was, the main reason was we didn't tell anybody we were opening. We wanted to just quietly open the doors, do a silent open so we could make sure that all the systems we set up, everything was working well, and it was going to feel safe for the staff. And so then we started promoting it. But we only saw about a 30% number come back. So to open up and see 32 people, not very much. And then we did a promotion and we got it up to 40 people. And then last week we had a couple of days where we saw 50 people. And today we did 100% of our drink proceeds to the Black Resilience Fund here in Portland. So I imagine that helped attract some customers. And today, Multnomah County is opening phase 1.
Right.
So today we saw 81 transactions, which is a pretty big bump.
Yeah.
It's also nice weather, so there's all these factors play in. But as it is, the other two cafes we had, one is in a building, and it will make no sense to open it until that building is close to full capacity again, and it's an office building, and so it'll be a while. The other one is in Southeast Portland, and it was already not a profitable location. So even if we start seeing numbers go to 50% of normal, if this location was not profitable before, we might actually lose less money as a business just paying rent and not being open for business for a few months.
Sure.
Which is a crazy, and it's kind of a sad notion because cafes are good gathering places. We're trying to be thoughtful, and we are trying to balance, what the business needs. What staffing needs. Right now, our staff we laid off. We don't have many people pushing to come back to work.
Okay.
It could be that fortunately the unemployment package was really healthy, so people are taken care of. People can pay their bills. People can eat.
Good.
That's going to run out in July. So in July we might have a bigger push for people like, unemployment is getting. I'm running out of unemployment money. I need to get back to work. So it might coincide with then the economy coming back a little bit more as well.
One thing that I'm really impressed with is how well you know your numbers just off the top of your head. And maybe you just have to, given the climate, or maybe it's just your nature. But I wonder how many other small businesses could report what percentage comes from this kind of customer versus this kind of customer versus this kind of customer, how that's changed over the weeks of COVID-19. And I wonder, do you feel like small businesses could be in a better position if this were to happen again, if they had a better handle on their numbers? So
first, 65% of all statistics are made up. So all the numbers I'm listing are probably plus or minus 5%. But I think it's a survival thing. We're still a very leveraged company. So I started Nossa Familia back in 2004 with a business partner, and we each invested $400 to start the company. And we've leveraged a lot. So we have a lot of bank loans. And because we have a lot of bank loans, we have a great relationship with our bank right now, the Commerce Bank of Oregon, but we have to provide a monthly report. And it's actually really good practice for us. It forces us to sit and analyze the numbers.
Interesting.
And it was funny. We were doing pretty well in the last year, and they're like, we could have you submit reports quarterly. I'm like, no, let's keep it monthly because it only takes us a couple of hours, and it's a forced accountability for us.
Sure.
I wouldn't be sleeping very well at night if I didn't have a decent grasp on the numbers.
Right.
And this is where I had to be really decisive. I was the one that had to decide on, okay, we have a team of 45, how many people can we keep on? And the answer was not very many. So we cut down to a team of 15 pretty quick. Like out of a lot of my business friends, I'm known as the softy and oftentimes, but I felt pretty, ruthless, I don't think is the right word, because part of it is like, if I don't cut people now and the business falters in 2 months because I've been keeping people on, then nobody has a job 2 months from now.
Right.
So I it was easier for me to say, you know, we're going to lay off everybody that we don't have productive work for. We also did it in a way that was thoughtful, and there was people that were feeling less comfortable about being exposed, that had health issues. People were able to volunteer to get, you know, laid off first. So that worked out really well.
Well, I know that you don't have a crystal ball, and it's hard to imagine what things are going to look like. But in the projections you have, hey, that's a good one. Yeah, I've got a few of those lying around too. A few cases. But are you preparing for getting back to normal? Or are you preparing for a new normal that is going to last a while?
What we're preparing for is a new normal that's going to last a while. So the new normal for us, what we're investing on now is a lot of the direct to customers. So the e-commerce, we're actually looking to switch our e-commerce platform to improve it and add subscription services, because that's one thing we can control. We can't control how fast restaurants come back. We can't control, you know, when people go to dine out. E-commerce we can control. Even in grocery, which is a strong category, that one we're predicting, as we're seeing it stay pretty steady. So we're looking at what we can control and what we can't. The retail applications will be tricky. You know, I have 8 years left on some of the leases, and so it'll be a balance of, well, how, you know, can we talk to landlords and maybe renegotiate to a percentage rent model? I know there's some people pushing that there should be this model that all restaurants do this with their landlords, where it's a percentage of rent, and that would allow the business to thrive. Landlords might be less willing to negotiate with us because they're like, oh, they see us as a big company. It's funny, a lot of people see us as this big, successful company, and in some ways we are brand-wise, but like, you haven't seen our balance sheet or in our profitability yet. But because we have this wholesale business, they're going to be like, oh, take money from your wholesale business to pay for the retail location.
Sure, yeah.
But if we were only a retail, if we're looking only at the retail performance, then I think landlords would have to ask, do I want an empty space, or do I want this coffee shop paying, even if it's $50 a month or $100 a month instead of $1,000 or $2,000, just to stay alive and come out of this?
Yeah. Do you have any words of wisdom or words of inspiration or hope for the business community out there that is just in the process of reopening and with a lot of unknowns?
So I got to sit down with Bob from Bob's Red Mill. His business was finally taking off, and there's an arson, and somebody burnt down their whole business. And one of the things he said was, some days success is just putting one foot in front of the other and doing one thing at a time. We're going to bounce back one way or another, and we got to put one foot ahead each day and make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing your perspective and for giving back as much as you are to the community in so many ways.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. And yeah, we got to go out to the tennis court.
Yes, we do.